Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bowlers Union podcast. We are delighted to say we have an England World Cup winner joining us today, Liam Plunkett. Thanks very much for joining us, Liam.
Thanks for having me. Excited to chat all things cricket.
So we'll start off straight away with the quickfire questions. Swing or nip?
Oh, nip.
Pace or bounce?
Pace.
Nick off or bowled?
Nick off.
Back of the hand slowy or knuckleball?
Back of the hand.
Good bouncer or a good Yorker?
Oh, good bouncer.
Just run us through those answers. So nip you chose over swing. Why nip?
Yeah, I was trying to, between the quick questions, think what's kind of worked for me a little bit. It's different for different people. Obviously, you Barks obviously swung the ball beautifully, but for me, when I try to swing it, I ball too floaty and I give too much width. But I just try to smash the pitch and I got that nip. I was more successful. That swing did come with that, right? When I wasn't thinking about it too much, but it was more like I'm going to try and nip it, and everything came from that.
Yeah. Pace over bounce?
Yeah, I think if I'm just when I bowled at my quickest, I came from a high position anyway, and I got that natural bounce. So do you know what I mean? So it was when I was bowling quick, I got my bounce anyway. So
yeah.
Nick off over bowled?
Yeah, I mean, either or. To be honest with you, if I'm getting a wicket, I'm getting a wicket. But I do like the feeling of bowling against the jet batter, and you've just bowled a perfect delivery. It's just nicked the top of the shoulder of the bat. That's a great feeling. But I mean, I'm not going to complain if you bowl a seed and knock someone's ball out either. So
yeah. Back of the hand slowy over knuckleball?
I used to be able to bowl back of the hand, and I can't bowl the knuckle. So that's what.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Good bouncer over a good Yorker?
Yeah, same. Yorker is never a thing. I wish I had a good Yorker, but I felt like when I was at my best, this is just me. When I was at my best, a bouncer was great for me, and it got me other wickets. So I got my partner down the other end wickets because there were, especially county cricket. If you're bowling if I was bowling early 90s for a period, people weren't that keen to face you, so I always put pressure on the other end, and it was great wickets for both.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually Adil Rashid has got me out in that manner when you've been bowling at the other end. I think I've probably run past once, to be fair.
The thing is, I had a really good partnership with Pato as well, because he was so hard to get away, and then they try and take me on a little bit. So you work in partnerships, obviously cliche, but it is what it is. It does happen in county cricket, right? You build that pressure, and you can build it through different types of bowling.
No, absolutely. Just quickly for our listeners, whereabouts are you filming from today? Then you've moved to America and stuff. We'd love to know more about what you're up to.
Yeah, I mean, I was back and forth during my career to Philadelphia. I met my missus in London. She was studying, so I was back and forth between England and Philadelphia for a very long time. And 3 years ago, I moved over here to work for Major League Cricket. And I'm living where I started to come across 18 years ago. So it's kind of worked out beautifully for me. If someone told me 17 years ago you're going to finish the back end of your career and get an opportunity to work in cricket in America and live with your wife in just outside of Philly, I wouldn't have believed it, So it's I'm very fortunate that that's happened. And obviously being involved in cricket over here is a completely different landscape because infrastructure is not there. We started to build it the last few years, and Major League Cricket's been successful. You guys might have seen a little bit of it, but the franchise stuff's really kicking off with some of the big names of the cricketing world getting involved. So it's been good, frustrating, but also it's exciting because it feels like there's something new every other day. There's something pops up. There's something exciting popping up. There's another league. There's another facility. There's some young players that are coming through. So yeah, a bit of a eye-opener to come from our background where we play cricket and how well it's put together. It's completely different, but also exciting.
Yes. So is your role, I know you're still playing and stuff, do you have like an administrative role out there then?
My role was signing for Major League is to play Major League, which is the franchise comp that you'll have seen. Then you would play minor league cricket, which is normally before Major League Cricket, where you're playing maybe 8 weeks of cricket. Then I'd be a national development coach. Myself and Rusty Theron, who was more West Coast, I was East Coast. we would sort of look after all the guys they brought across from countries, from South Africa, India, New Zealand, all these players who signed for Major League. We trying to put programs in place, whether it's you're going to go and do a 10-day camp, or we're going to play against Scotland or Ireland, or you're playing against the USA team. So you're trying to look after these guys. Easier said than done, because it was quite hard to get places to train, to get places to play. And when you did get a place to play, was the ground staff there, were they able to roll the wicket? So it was a bit of a shit show, but as I said, I feel like I've learned a lot. It feels like sometimes you take cricket for granted when you're in that county grind. It is difficult, but you know what you're doing. It's very structured, and you enjoy that sort of responsibility of being a county cricketer. And when you step away from it, you miss that a little bit. I think the structure is key for me. I did miss the structure. This is where you're going to be. This is the time you need to be on the bus. This is what time we're starting. I felt like I missed that a lot. So you kind of, when you finish, that's when you start living an adult life. That's how I felt. It's like, you're an adult now. You're not going to get your ass wiped for you anymore. Like, you need to figure out how to fucking use a computer and type properly. You know. So it's
need an Excel course and all that sort of stuff.
That's all of it. I was fortunate because the PCA, I linked up with the LMA, the League Management Association, and I went and did my postgrad. I graduated in December. So through the PCA, I did just under, I think it was a 3-year course on strategic leadership. Was excellent. I really enjoyed that course. Obviously, all about the governance of sport, and doing sort of assignments on Bernie Ecclestone and Seb Coe, and learning the ins and outs of the governance of sport. And that kept me busy for 2 years, which I really enjoyed. So
that's awesome. It's fair to say the MLC's it's an attractive place, isn't it, now, for players worldwide? It looks like a really good growing comp.
Yeah, it is. The grounds are getting better, but it's the players are quality, right? And you're going to get a decent pay, and you're coming to America, which not a lot of people might have done. You're coming across, you're going to play good cricket, and then you're watching the basketball, the baseball, and you're in America. So it's hopefully it keeps getting bigger and better, and I'm sure there's going to be more franchises that are going to get added on. I think maybe not next year, the year after, there's going to be 2 more, and potentially 2 more the following 2 years after that. So it's going to become a big pool. Hopefully it opens the sort of the gates to Canada as well. So you have like a Toronto team, and that opens up that pool a bit like basketball and baseball. It opens your player pool, right? So you have another 20, 30 players who can be involved in cricket, which probably builds a standard, makes the standard better.
That's very cool. Very cool, to be fair. And how long do you see yourself playing for still?
I don't know. We'll see what happens this year. It depends how much cricket I play and what comes my way in terms of the retirement leagues, because there's some good money in that. So if I start turning down all those retirement leagues and it doesn't make sense for me to play major league because I'm getting paid more to do the retirement league, then I'll make that decision. But I mean, I'd like to play. I'm 40 in April. I'd like to play potentially another year to say I played up until I was 40. But it's just, the thing is, it's hard to navigate. Just say, for instance, I played this year. I played a game of cricket last December, and then I didn't have the ability to train or play, and I had 4 or 5 net sessions, and I was bowling at Andrea Russell on a flat pitch. So it's just like there's no one to practice with, mate. You know, as a bowler, like, at least if you're practicing against players, it's going to make you better, right? But there was no one to get that feedback from. So it was, I just didn't know where I was at. 6 months as you're getting older is a long time from where you're at to where you're at now. Like, have I dropped 5 miles an hour? Have I got bounce? So like, there was nothing to judge me on. So you're going into like a bit of a pre-season thing. I'm not sure what the fuck's going to come out here. But thankfully the wickets have got a little nibble and a few cutters, so I can bowl 70 miles an hour little cutters, and I got away with it. So
fair enough. That's made me chuckle.
So obviously, Pudsey, you started your career off at Durham, and from what I remember, when I came, obviously it was a few years later, but you were pretty much a part of I want to say still the best bowling attacks that's been in county cricket. There's yourself, Bunny Onions, Otis Gibson, and Harmison. What was that like, being within that bowling attack?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's obviously to be involved with Durham at that point, because we had overseas like Shoaib Akhtar, you drop him into the mix as well, just a little bit before that. So it's obviously playing a game when you've got Harmison and Shoaib opening the ball in. And at that point, me and Buddy were bowling 140 coming on first change. It felt like it was a proper attack. But yeah, I mean, you're playing with these, as you guys know, it just happens. I was playing club cricket, playing academy, and all of a sudden you dropped in and you're playing first class cricket, and everything's so new to you, and you just sort of ride with the wave, don't you? You just play cricket, you don't think about it too much, and whatever happens, happens. And it was, so I was just happy to be involved, and very lucky that I got a 5-for on a filthy Headingley wicket, my first class game. Up and down, and my hero Darren Goff was playing. I remember hitting him on the head and nicking him. He got caught third man, and I was like, this is crazy. That's Goffy's story is completely different. What happens? I bowled my bound to hit him in the head. He ran down, tried to swipe me, and he went to third man, got caught. Goffy's story is he hit me in the head, then he pulled me for 6, pulled me for 4, and then I got him out. That's like that never happened, mate. He never hit me for 2 boundaries, pal. Just yeah, I mean, playing with these guys was amazing, mate. Because I came through the academy at Durham with Jeff Cook, and you had that academy has produced so many good players in terms of Harmy, Colley, me, Graham Onions, Mustard, Woody, Stokesy. So it's guys who've come from not like they've went to all private schools and stuff. We all come from the same kind of background. So playing academy with them and then playing first team with them was a special journey, that's for sure.
Is there any reason Durham do produce so many good seamers? Because they're still doing it now, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, when I've played there, when I look at it, they've just got people who are willing to put in the hard work and a bit. Well, you know Pop Welsh very well, right? You know how he's kind of how he thinks about the game and kind of keeps it simple. I think I don't know him that well in terms of cricket wise, but when I speak to him, he's trying to keep things simple. I think that's what they did really well at Durham. They got behind the players, and we got amazing facilities at the Riverside, and the back does. And it was sort of no nonsense, really. Just get on with it. You probably now the guys who get injuries, you probably be all wrapped up in cotton wool. But back in the day, it's like no, you get on with it. You bowl, you play, you figure out what you can kind of get through. Not stupid injuries, but when you have little niggles and you can fight that, then you learn your body as a county bowler, right? It's every time you had a niggle as a county bowler, you didn't play, you wouldn't play any cricket, would you? So it's
no, very true, very true. That young version of you, like you mentioned before, used to hoop it away, didn't you? I feel like Barks and I probably faced 2 different versions of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is that fair?
Yeah. Because I started when I joined Durham Academy, I was mainly I batted 3, and then bowled little seamers, little away swingers, and Mustard stood up to me. And then as I grew, like one winter, I grew, and then obviously I still had that shape. And yeah, so the first how many years, and even when I started playing for England, I was more of a swing bowler. And that's what the first on the quick round questions you asked, that's what I remember. If I tried to swing it like I used to, like I bowled a pile of shit because I just sort of like tried to push it up there. Mm-hmm. That was something natural. That was natural to me, and then I was managed to get some decent pace, and it was like late swing. If I tried to swing it, I get early swing now, and I bowl a lot of cut balls. But yeah, definitely. And then it kind of changed. My action was all, I probably thought about the game too much, went through some different changes. Part of that was me, but also at that time, I got picked for England 19s. We went to Loughborough. I worked with some coaches who said, if I don't change my action, you're going to get injured. So I went through all that shit of going from what I like to do, which was like the high arm, to the whole Brett Lee hand to shoulder, and I started pushing it out and lost 10 miles an hour. And I think the worst thing about that was the communication between the ECB and county cricket, because I was away for 6 months and Jeff Cook didn't see me bowl. So when I went back, I was like a different ball, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on? Where's your long levers? Where's your action?" So I had a bit of, and I think during that period, I lost that like little bit of natural shape or like consistency with it. And then you sort of rebuild yourself, and whatever happens, right? I just try to keep it simple after that. But the ups and downs of county cricket and working on your action, and when it came down to it, it's just trying to keep it as simple as possible, I think.
Sorry, Keith. I feel like I'm asking loads of questions here. But I watched a bit of footage of you actually, just so a bit of preparation for this chat, and I looked at some old footage and some new footage, and your action, yes, you look similar. I kind of think who you were getting. I think there was who were you getting out? It was probably one of your first one-day games or something like that. This is a long time ago. Yeah, and it didn't look too different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it just took me a while to get back there. And you, as a bowler, if you change your action by this much, it feels fucking this, right? Like if you change And my big thing was my arm. This was going way too far out, and like in my mind, I was like off balance and stuff. And like I played with Durham, enjoyed Durham, had an amazing career there with the guys, but it wasn't that consistent. I would bowl really well for the period, and then I would bowl a pile of shit, and that was a frustrating thing. I wasn't getting any consistency, even with test cricket and stuff. I'd bowl amazing spells, and then I would leak a little bit, and I just figured I couldn't get any consistency with it. And I think when I moved to Yorkshire, and then Dizzy was amazing in terms of a man manager at that time. He's come from an amazing background, just said, listen, just try and bowl quick. I went away to America. I was here for like 4 or 5 months, trained hard, went home. And that's when I started like bowling quick for Yorkshire. But when you say my actions the same, I think it went from what I have kind of now to short levers. And it took me ages to get back to where I am now. And it's very similar. It is very similar. I just took in what I wanted to hear. I listened to every coach, but like I fucked a lot of it off and said, listen, I'm comfortable now. I'm starting to figure out my action.
So just you mentioning Yorkshire there. So I faced you once at Durham. It was at Edgbaston. I reckon there was 1 or 2 balls you bowled which I just hit the splice, quite short back of a length, and I thought if that's not hit my handle, that's ripped my Adam's apple out of my throat. But then obviously you moved to Yorkshire, and it almost felt like the penny had dropped. You saying that now, Dizzy just said to you, look, just want you to bowl quick. It really did feel like you'd put on, well, one, you'd put on size. That's one thing. Yeah. Like you look more muscular, quite big and strong. But then it seemed even quicker and more hostile. Was there anything else that you did at that point when you moved to Yorkshire, apart from just trying to bowl as quick as you could?
No, I mean, the training, like I did put myself through training. Like I like the strength and condition side of things, to the point where like I appreciate that I did that, but I also got injuries in my career because I probably trained for stuff I probably shouldn't have trained for. I think I could have played a lot more cricket. You have that battle between yourself. Well, would I have been as successful if I didn't train as hard? Would I have been better if I just did training for cricket? I look at Jimmy and Brody. They're really good at just training for cricket. They're very, very good at just doing an S&C program. They don't go really... I'm not going to go just to bench, right? Like they're not going to go and do that into the gym, but they're very specific, and their career being so successful, the amount of Test cricket they've played. But no, I mean, when I did come to America, because I finished with Durham, and before I signed with Yorkshire, there was still like 2 months left of the season, but I'd finished my contract, so I had 6 months in America, and that's what I did. I just did a shit ton of running, shit ton of got stronger and more powerful, and it was just the right time, the right place where I kind of like, what have I got to lose? I've played for England. I've played for Durham. Like, I want to enjoy my cricket. I think when you're battling between yourself and your action and stuff, it's not that enjoyable because you're turning up and you don't feel happy. Well, am I performing today? I'm so stressed about bowling the ball straight. And you have yips in cricket where you can't release it. Where's it going to come out? And that's the thing, right? It's miserable in cricket. Like, I don't want to be here. I'm not enjoying it. To having that 6 month off, coming back to Yorkshire, and Yorkshire had signed at that point Andrew Hodd, who was one of my good friends, Jack Brook, who became best man at my wedding. And you had loads of other guys who were like 31, 30, who were so comfortable within themselves. And we sort of just clicked. I felt comfortable. Dizzy was a great coach at that time who helped me. And as you said, I think the penny just dropped and I was relaxed and I enjoyed myself.
Because I do remember we played at Headingley, and I remember thinking, I'm buzzing. It's always good for Warwickshire to get Bell or a trot bike. And Belly's playing brilliant. Yeah. And I think someone got a wicket, and then you were on bowling. I think you might have got a wicket. Ian Bell comes into bat, and straight away, coming round, and you just bowled very quick bounces consistently for the whole day. And I remember I might have been looking at Righty, and we were trying to say, if Belly's not liking this, we're screwed. I think I did come onto bat against you. You pitched one up, and I think I might have got away for like 2. And I remember thinking, I know what's coming here, and let me have it. I've ducked one. The next one, let me have it again. I've just pushed it one. Thank you. So I was happy to walk off, mate.
It was, yeah, at that time, that's when like I had a few years where I felt like I did bowl quick, and I knew I was bowling quick because I know how good Belly is at the short ball. When you see him play against Mitch Johnson, all these guys, he plays it so well. And even in that game, I felt like I was bowling rapid, and you have him in trouble, but he's not fazed by it. The next one, he'll just duck and smirk at you. You know how good a player he is, right? And when I knew that I was sort of like putting him under pressure, I felt like I was bowling at my quickest at that point. But yeah, I'm not sure I got him out of that game because he was just like, I'll just duck. A bit like Rooty, they just smile at you and they probably see it like a fucking beach ball. So.
To be fair, I do remember though, it definitely had an effect on the team. Obviously, because Belly was, like you say, the guy we looked up to, and you just peppered him from around the wicket. And I remember, everyone else was like, he's bobbing and weaving, but that's it. He's kind of just getting through it. He's not, he's not assertive like he normally is and stuff. I think that's the beauty of having someone who does what you do.
Yeah. I actually do think you may have got him out. I actually think you had it because you had short leg, came around the wicket, you were aggressive. I'm sure you got him out kind of just off the glove or something like that. But it rattled the whole change room because we're looking like our saviour's back. He's going to score some runs. And once we saw him just kind of ducking and weaving, and like, I think he even did a little bit of like a shake, like, oh, that's pretty sharp. I'm thinking, if he's struggling, I'm dead.
I know what you mean. He does that little quick thing, doesn't he? That little It's so difficult, isn't it? Because even like when you're playing, I remember like even playing one day cricket for England, and then people are bowling quick, and then all the boys up top are fucking smoking it. Then you're expected to go at the end and just go and try and tee off, hit a few bombs. It's like fucking 94 miles an hour. It's sweet. I'm like, it's county cricket also is like young guys coming through bowling rockets, and you're at the back end. I guess that's why kind of we play how we play. Just like, I'm just going to take a chance here. I'm not standing in the line and get my fingers snapped. So.
You just mentioned there about England, so it's definitely something we want to talk about because you, again, looking at that England team that you're a part of, the bowling attack was insane. Obviously, you were a massive part of that, but you had yourself, Archer, Wokes, Wood, and Rashid and Mo Ali bowling spin. I mean, that must have felt pretty good going on the field with those blokes as a bowling unit in particular, just knowing you all know your roles and you're all rapid, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously probably your guys know Wokesley very well. What an unbelievable bloke, and the way he sort of set the tone, he was immaculate in white, but in all cricket that he plays, he's so pure, isn't he, in what he does? He's so he have him up top who was always bowling beautifully, and you had people in and out of the team. But yeah, obviously Woody was bowling rockets at that point, Archer bowling rockets. And it was just exciting. As you said, I was 35, 36 at that time. So there's nothing to lose. I just want to enjoy playing cricket. I think there was a big difference between that stage and when I first played for England. When I first played for England, I was happy to take part. When I was 35 or 30, like I wanted to get man of the match, right? I wanted to make a massive dent. Well, can I take a fiver to win a game? And I think kind of the mentality shifted a little bit. And we were so lucky at that point because I think you had 11 players who wanted to do that. Everyone wanted to be man of the match. Everyone wanted to do that winning moment. And when you have a team like that, you're going to have success. I think even behind the scenes, when you have players wanting other players to do well, even if you're 12th man or you've been carrying drinks, if you still want them players to do well, you're in a good place as a team. I played in some teams where the 12th man wants someone to get injured or wants someone to get smashed around the park. But if you can have a culture, what Morgs and Trevor sort of developed, if you can have that, you're going to breed success. So,
actually, I mean, we talked about it before. It was a really likable team because obviously we want England to do well and stuff. But watching that was like, you could see like kind of what you're saying there. It did look like a team, and it did look like everyone is capable of winning a game in their own right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it is. You got a lot of guys who are hard work, who put in hard yards a little bit, and obviously there was certain people frustrated with Jofra and stuff coming in and taking places, but he's one of the best in the world. I mean, it's sport, it's elite sport. You want the best people. If someone's eligible to play, why aren't they not going to play? It was disappointing for people I felt for the guys who missed out, but I also know I've been in this business long enough, is you pick the best players available for you.
Yeah.
And he was a duck to water. He came in and was just like, I'm just going to do this, do that. I remember we practiced a knuckleball the day before in a game. This was against Australia, Edgbaston. And then I was at mid-off and he went, I might try this. And you got a wicket, got Maxwell on next ball. First time we rolled a knuckleball. This is fucking, I would not even dare to do that.
I think just from hearing that, Pop Welch, we talked about earlier, he helped when we were at Yorkshire build a bowling unit. And actually we all became part of something bigger than just ourselves. Yeah. And it, like you said there about Joff, having someone like him come in, it must have been annoying for the players that missed out because Joff came in. But it almost feel like saying, well, if you can bowl 95 mile an hour and do X, Y, Z like he does, then you will play. But it's just an unfortunate thing. I did ask Joff. I saw Joff a few weeks back, and I asked him if he's ever found any level of cricket difficult. He just said no. So that kind of bowler, that kind of player, they come along once every however long. So they're special players. So you got to kind of let them spread the wings and do their own thing.
He's a proper cricket badge. He loves cricket. He absolutely loves to bowl. I like to bowl, love to bowl when it's going well, but it's a battle to play cricket, right? It's not like I'm 100%. People might not want to hear this, but if someone gave me freaking $10 million, I'm not sure how much county cricket I would have played.
No, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. In terms of your role specifically in that team, again, Keith and I were talking before the podcast. It's an amazing effort to be given the role you had, which is basically bowl through the middle, get world-class batters out with a ball that's not doing anything. I mean, what made you so good at it, in your opinion?
I think our bowlers were really good up top and put the pressure on. I think when you say you were successful in the middle, and it came from them power plays and how good we were up top as well with Walksy and who else was in that 4-year period. You had toppers, you had Dave Willey played quite a lot period, Sam Curran and stuff, but we had bowlers who put pressure on. Jofra, Woody, Walksy up top. I don't know, I just felt like there wasn't doing too much, and I had to kind of find a niche, and I just kept it simple. I really did. I just tried to think, well, where's the strength of the batters? Okay, where's the weaknesses? All I would do the day before is look at my phone and look at people getting out and singles. I wouldn't look at any boundaries and stuff. I would just look at it as David Warner. Where can I block him up? Where does he get out? And sort of set my field accordingly, and then play around with the cross seam, wobble seam, bowl a good bouncer, and just be consistent with it. Try and bowl a length that's hard to hit, where the batsman doesn't know if they're going to hit me down the ground or come across me. I wanted to be that bowler where they just were a bit unsure. And I think when you're playing against the best batters in the world, it's not the massive variations that get people out because they see it coming. It's how much can you change up by like a tiny little bit. So if I'm bowling wobble seam, can I manage to move it a tiny bit? And that was my aim. Is each ball, can I make it hit the same length but do something tiny or different? I had a natural ability in my action where I could let a ball go at 90, but also it was just the way I'm sort of designed is the ball will come out at 80. And just a natural variability. And I think that helped to success getting wickets in the middle because, as I said, people used to hitting a half volley and all of a sudden it's not there with the same action, same arm speed. If I don't know I'm bowling a slow ball, then the batter wouldn't either. So that was helpful for me, right? And I think a lot did come down to that.
I will say, from what it looked like, obviously you may say different. It looked like you created this middle period role of using your two bouncers, but also change of pace. And I know you've just said it was accidental, but it seems that no one's really been able to follow that suit since. It's like you created that yourself, and it was more successful than anyone else I've seen bowling through the middle.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, I did pride myself on that. When I say change of pace, I mean, a lot of my deliveries, I would say with 98% was cross seam and holding the ball slightly different in terms of having a cross seam fingers, then I come down cross seam, and then I come in. So I'd have 3 different variations of cross seam. And I think that was like a tiny little bit of pace dropped. And with my quick bouncer, and as I said, I did pride myself on it. I felt when I bowled cross seam, my cutter was successful because it got around the ball. So if you watch like Nathan Lyon gets that perfect spin and sort of dip, I kind of prided myself on having a really good off cutter. So yeah, just not simple, no leg cutter, no back of the hand. And it was just like heavy pitch, heavy length, good bouncer, a mix of cross seams and a heavy cutter. And that's kind of what I live by. And it was kind of successful with the partnership with Rash, or if Woody came on or Joff came on. But you had amazing bowlers around you. But I think, as I said at the start, I just tried to keep it simple, know what my limitations were. I'm not someone who's got a bag full of tricks. So
how quick do you think you have to be to operate with that method that you've talked about at international level?
I don't know, because you can sort of bring in, well, where's the ball getting delivered from? Like if you're 6'8", it's different. You could probably bowl 79 miles an hour and it'd feel fucking horrible to face just because of that bounce. But I don't. You need to be able to smash the bat. I feel like you need to be, because every wicket around the world, you're going to get flat pitches. You're going to get wickets that don't bounce. You want to be 135, 140. I think in your prime, you're 145, 140, and then you're sort of dipping in between, aren't you? So you're 130 all the way to 145. It's just up and down. But I don't think there's any specific. I don't think you could play unless you're a batsman who's going to bowl a little bit. Who, like, a bit like the Aussies do now. They're stacking the teams with batsmen who bowl. Like Astonis can probably do that job, right? He's bowling, 130, 135?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's a set pace, but it just helps if you can smack the pitch hard and you've got a quick bouncer. And that can be at 135, I think, right?
Do you do anything different for your bouncer? Is it an absolute effort ball, or do you have different paces of your short ball or anything like that?
Yeah, I just try to bowl it. No, I just try to slam it into the ground, mate. It's more the direction of where it is, right? I'm thinking, can you get it across to the shoulder here? So make them kind of play at it a little bit. Slow ball bouncers, you guys have played enough. Slow ball bouncers massive now in cricket, isn't it? Especially with the long boundaries. That wasn't really a thing until Shane Bond was amazing at that. Shane Bond had an unbelievable slow ball bouncer. He started bowling that, and then it just became the norm now. But I think that was more successful to me than tried to bowl a Yorker, because if I missed like a slow ball bouncer, you can still cloth it. But if I miss a Yorker, it's probably going to get fucking hit the stands. So.
Yeah, completely agree. The game's changed there, hasn't it, with the way batters strike it if you miss a Yorker.
It feels like it's just going full cycle, right? It's like the batter's getting a grip of it, and now the bowlers are starting to figure it out. It just goes fucking, it sort of circles a little bit. It's always going to be batter friendly, right? People are not going to be there to watch fucking 100 versus 100 in a T20. So
no, absolutely. They just keep bringing the boundaries in, don't they? To be fair,
they do.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I did a little research, and I could be wrong here, but do you know how many wickets you've got overall in all comps?
No, I did. I actually was looking at you guys' first class record today, because I know you played for a long time, so I was looking at you. But no, I know I couldn't tell you. It was 800.
No, well, from what I saw, it was 1,087.
Was it? I'll take it.
Yeah, which is unbelievable, absolutely ridiculous. Checking mine and Righty's stats, mine would come out better than Righty's.
As you say, you guys played so much cricket and county cricket and stuff. It's similar to my best mate Brooksy as well, right? He came in late in the game, and you have some seriously good bowlers playing county cricket, and it's a fucking tough old slog, I'll tell you that. I played, when I look at my stats, I reckon all of my wickets were the first 10, 12 years county cricket, and then it's just purely white ball. I would not change it for the world, but like, I did miss the back end of my career. I hardly played any red ball cricket. And when I did play the odd game for Surrey, like, I was so far away from it. Like, I wasn't in rhythm to play red ball. Like, I wasn't enjoying it. But the times I played with Yorkshire and Durham, like 100% the best days. You're going to battle with some of your best mates, aren't you? You're both going through on a flat deck. You're fucking grafting hard. You do well. You come off and you put your feet up. There's no better feeling than taking your socks off and fucking
I remember once one game we played at Warwickshire, and we bowled really well. I can't remember who it was against, and Righty caused a bit of an upset in the change room, because just, it wasn't meant in any wrong way, but Righty's like, "All right, well done, lads. Over to you, batters." And a few lads
it wasn't meant like that at all.
A few batters got the hump with Righty. So yeah, no, there is no better feeling for sure, and it's always good just to know, like, end of the day, I prefer end of the day where I know there's no chance of me putting my pads on because it's too late in the day. So I know I can go home, rest up, eat, sleep, and then come in the next day knowing that I should not be anywhere near from having to get my gloves or pads ready or anything.
Remember, it was different because when I was at Durham, it was very like old school in terms of Jet Cook, amazing coach, but it's like everyone's going to, even if you're on a batting day, everyone's coming in, warm up and stuff. And then it was like when I would move to Yorkshire, it was dizzy. So it was that situation where you weren't going to bat. Like, it was the openers coming out in the morning after second day. It was like, just get yourself to David Lloyd's, get a sauna, get some poached eggs. I was like, fuck, man, this is gold dust, this.
Brilliant. Hey, can we circle back to when you were talking about training? Because I think, obviously, I'm sure you can appreciate, you played a lot of England stuff. towards the end of your career. So on the county circuit, you perhaps weren't around, as much. But there were rumours going around that you were like the king of the Spartan workout and the insanity workout and all this sort of stuff. Is there any truth to that? And what sort of training do you actually recommend for bowlers?
I think fitness-wise, like I'm very an addictive personality. So whether I go for a beer, I'll end up having 25 beers. Whether I do a bike ride, I'll end up doing 150k. Like I just the ways I've kind of built. As I've got older, I've kind of got better in that. But yeah, I would do silly workouts, and then just say before, I remember a test match, I end up doing like loads of freaking deadlifts and then twinging my fucking hammy in the test match or something stupid like that. Or I was doing like 10 sets of 10 or something fucking stupid or something like that. So I don't know, I'd find ways of doing stuff, but it made me feel good. And I was like, if I'm fit, I'm going to bowl fast and I'm going to fucking get 10 for and I'm going to have longevity. Well, actually, I'm turning up and I'm fucking tired. It's like, but I think now in terms of, I don't know, because it's when I did a lot of running, like pre-season, I felt I was amazing. And when I played, I was like, I would feel fresh. I would bowl longer. You got a bigger engine. I think it's there for a reason, the S&C side, but we get paid to bowl and to get wickets. You're not getting bowled to be the fittest in the team. I think there's a bit like I said earlier, I think you need to find that level where you're doing the right stuff to keep you strong and fit, but it's also cricket related. If people want to have fun, I know people like the gym and stuff, so it's just finding the right time and space to be able to do that. Just being clever with it, but it's tricky as a fast bowler playing county cricket because there's so much cricket, right? Especially if you're going to play red ball or white ball, it's non-stop, so you just have to sort of top it up, right? You're going in, you're doing a little bit of strength a couple of times a week, make sure you're topped up, but also make sure you recover. It's just having that good relationship with the S&C, and he understands what you're actually going through as a bowler. Like your body's getting smashed every day. You put in how much times pressure through your front foot and your back's getting twisted to shit and you're tired, right? It's not an easy job. But it's each to their own, but I'd rather just make sure you're fit to play the next game rather than doing too much in the gym. That's how I feel.
That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. I've got another question for you in terms of going back to the start of the conversation. And you said Phil Mustard used to stand up to you, and then obviously something happened and you managed to force him back. What was that? You said you just grew? And was that training as well? Or?
Yeah, I remember that because he stood up and I think bounced him on it, hit him on the top of the head, and that's why he stood back. But I think it was that time. I think I was just getting stronger, mate. I was getting older, and I was filling out a little bit. With probably the training at Durham, me going to Durham was probably the first time I started to do strength and conditioning. When you first go into professional cricket, they actually have this is your S&C, this is your plan. So I was growing, getting stronger, and I think that just came with it, mate. Yeah, because at that point, I was bowling in some Asics trainers half spikes, the front half of spikes, and that's what I was bowling seam and on the riverside on a wet pitch. I was just dawdling up all little seamers.
So it's safe to say the purpose wasn't to bowl quick early on. Do you feel like as you got stronger and felt you could get it down there more, that the mindset changed to actually really letting it go?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I was just like bowled little away swingers and I was nicking people off. And as I filled out, I think Jeff Cook at that time just said, I actually see something in him here. He's grew to 6'3", 6'4". He's got a natural swing because I kept the swing for a while and the pace was coming.
Yeah.
And then you start playing, you get comfortable, you want to bowl quick, right? I could bowl quick in practice and you kind of search for it. So how do I do that? Do I get stronger in the gym? Do I bowl more? So it's just kind of figuring out which way I was going to go. And you don't really know, do you, where your body's going to end up? Do you bowl quick as a youngster, then it tapers off, or do you get stronger and stronger and stronger and you bowl quicker as you get older? I think as 30, when I was, I think 30 to 33, 34 was probably my quickest time, where you kind of at that point where you're like, well, what have I got to prove? Like I've played a lot of cricket here. I kind of know my body a little bit. I'm just going to go and enjoy cricket. Whatever happens, happens, I guess.
Would you say you're like a naturally like fast twitch kind of athlete or not?
No, not really, mate. I feel for me to be like, I used to like the fitness tests and stuff. I think I used to have to work extremely hard to get somewhere near the fitness test to be one of the better fitter ones. I wasn't, even like when you're trying to bowl a slow ball to exaggerate something, I find that really hard. So fast twitching never was. I feel like I had to put time and effort to become good at more stuff. What I was successful at, I feel like I had to put the time in. It wasn't something that was natural to me now.
Because I don't know, it gets said a lot, doesn't it? It's like build the athlete first, and then the whatever on top. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes you hear a lot of stories about how people are perhaps like yourself. You're a cricketer and you discover the weights and the S&C,
Yeah.
but it's on top of, like you say, you swung it and all this sort of stuff, and then when you add in the physical stuff, that's when you really take off, rather than perhaps the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, when I was joining Surrey, I mean, Gus Atkinson was just starting off there, right? But I don't know, at that time, he'd obviously been around for a little bit, but he was like running and stuff. He was rapid. He was very fast twitch. So when I look at a bit like Joffa, right? When I look at Gus, the way he runs up, it's very easy, and it's all from like a Jofra kind of thing. Like for me, that's kind of a fast twitch, right? It's like everything's so easy where like I feel myself, I had to like fly in and fucking put everything into it to bowl the ball quick. Where when you see them, it's just like easy, and it's like a bowling machine. And I think there is people who have that natural fast twitch, and some people it's only really when it clicks, when you're kind of fresh or when you're strong and stuff, and everything sort of aligns itself that you can get that elastic snap. But I guess we'll never know. There's going to be so much research, but everyone's different, right? There's a kid who's going to be born tomorrow who's going to have a unique action, who's going to bowl quick, and people don't know why. I guess there's so many intricacies. So.
Were you someone that was braced front leg, or were you collapsed a little bit?
No, mine was bent. I look at some of my pictures, and I was a bent front knee. And I think when I realized that's why I tried. Probably one of the reasons I did try and get strong. I'm like, well, if I get strong through my core, that can kind of just drag me through, right? If I've got a bent front knee, I can actually get over it because I'm strong in the core. I don't believe you have to have a braced front knee to bowl quick at all. I don't believe that. There's so many bowlers around the world who bowl quick without it, right? So, but that might be also why I got my speed was up and down a little bit, which was good and bad because of that knee was slightly bent. And if I was tired in my core, then it might have floated out. Where if I was strong that day, I might have snapped over. But you play that much cricket, you're going to have days where I think the best bowlers, successful county cricket, you have the days where you feel fresh and days where you feel tired, but you just find a way to be successful. Or today, I don't feel great, but I know I'm going to do a job for the team by being accurate. It's not snappy, but I'm doing a great job. My field's in close. I'm stopping the singles. So it's...
Technically, there you mentioned we just talked about brace front leg. Is there anything that you do believe in fundamentally if you're going to be a successful bowler?
No, I mean it's the old adage. I mean, I just believe hard work. Find out what works for you and work really fucking hard at it. That's just graft hard. And it feels like even when you look at good batsmen, people change kinds of the way every winter there's something to work on. I believe in like sticking to your guns and stuff. Don't be afraid to tweak it a little bit if it's going to make you better. I think you look at the best bowlers in the world, they might change slightly. You're not dramatically changing anything, but stick to the basics. But don't be afraid to just change a tiny bit, right? That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think there's one thing. I think each of us have got their own method to how they become successful in bowling. I just believe in hard work and sort of cracking on with it, to be honest with you.
I think that's the northern attitude, which I think benefits bowlers a lot. Is kind of just, you got to crack on. You got to go through the ups and downs and just, like you said, crack on. It's never easy. It is never easy. You got to work hard and keep going. Believe in yourself. Right, he's smirking there. He's
I'm waiting for a dig because I'm so.
No. I would say you've got like that kind of attitude when you bowl. Even at your age now, Chris. So you're still doing all right.
There is. No, I agree with you though. I'm not northern, but there is something in a northern attitude. And again, you can't lie. Most bowlers, or most England bowlers, they do tend to come from up north, don't they? For whatever reason.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, mate. Maybe as you said, you're brought up near the cold, mate. So you just fucking crack on with it, don't you, mate? But I feel to be successful in county cricket, you have to have that attitude as a bowler. There's not, even from wherever you're from, you can't play that much cricket and have over 500 wickets and not play through injuries. And as a kid growing up, we used to bowl for fucking hours in the nets, and there was no real restriction on bowling when I played, right? There was like, you just bowl. You're going to have Durham Academy, you're going to have net sessions. Oh, you're in for an hour. You bowl fucking 12, 15 overs off the bounce. good, bad, whatever that is, but you learn to navigate it. And you're probably sometimes afraid to say you've got a sore fucking hamstring. And then you realize you can play with a bit of a sore hamstring. It doesn't mean you're injured. And you but now it's the good and bad again is kids are probably getting looked after a little bit better, which is great, but you also don't know what's injury and what's not. So it's, you learn. But how many people are going to play county cricket now for that long and have 500 plus wickets because of all the white ball cricket? I look at it now and people are bouncing around. They play 1 or 2 years red ball cricket and then they go white ball only. But if you're not a name, and if you have a few competitions where you're shit, no one's going to pick you up, right? It's tricky to navigate.
So true. You mentioned earlier that the sort of lack of a schedule is quite difficult. If you jump into that franchise world too early, you could get really lost and chewed up and spat out, I reckon.
100%. As a bowler, because it's what's your home base. If you just say if you're with Durham or Yorkshire and stuff, and you say, "Cheers, guys, I'm just going to do white ball only," and then you're fucking off. Like they might not want you because they want to invest in someone a full year, like a 12 months. We want to give them a contract. So where are you going back to practice? Who you're practicing with? What's your structure? It's not easy. And as you said, if you fail once or twice, you're not such a big name where you're going to draw people into watch on TV anyway. So it's I think we were in a good place in terms of because all the fundamentals and you're playing so much cricket and you learn yourself, you learn your red ball skills, your white ball skills, and you've got such a locker full of pain and injuries that you went through, and you've earned the right to pick and choose towards that point in time because you've played so much.
Yeah, that's true. I think even with that, for instance, from playing at Hampshire, and I remember it being at Warwickshire as a younger player, anytime there was a senior player doing something that wasn't the same as everyone else, as a younger player, you go, well, why are they not doing it? And our physio very early just said, when you've done what that person's done, when you've taken 500 hits, and then you can talk. But until then, graft your ass off. And that's still happens now with the young players coming through. They look and think, well, why would I do that? Because he's not doing it. And it's almost the cycle of doing, you've got to do it. You've got to get those hard yards in, know what you can go through, and just get injured. Learn. I remember playing and wanting to do what Righty did. Righty would do like a warm up in the gym, and he'd be doing like deadlifts and stuff. And I thought, well, I use my front arm a lot. Let me do some wide arm pull ups. So I started doing wide arm pull ups. Did my side.
Did you say?
So I learned after that. That's not for me to do. But you've got to try things and push yourself.
It's funny. I got to the point. It was like even like a 1 day game is. You go in early. I'll get to the ground early. I would do, or even before I would lift in the. So I get there. I do a PAP session, post activation session, where you do quick gym. You do some cleans. You do some box jumps, med ball slams. You go and get a shower, get changed, and you warm up with the team. You play a full 1 day game, and then at the end of the game, what have we got on? Can I sneak in a strength session because I have a full day off tomorrow? So it's just like a fucking. I'll just watch that. Have you seen that Starting Five, the Netflix, the LeBron James one?
I'm a couple of episodes in.
I was like, that unbelievable. Like, if he's got a game at 7 p.m., he goes to the facility to 8 in the morning, shoots around for 2 hours, just stretching, goes home, sleep for 2 hours, goes back in for another hour of shooting before the game starts. I'm like, cricket. I feel like cricket, there's no chance you're doing that unless the batter's going in to hit underarms for 2 hours and then he's going back to bed. But like I feel like you can actually practice specifically for shooting the ball in the hoop, right? Like it's from like a 3-pointer or there's no one distracting you, right? Where cricket, there's always like a lot more variables, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that is fair. No, that's brilliant. What's your favourite sport, by the way, over there since moving?
I'm a massive. I love the way that I love more like NFL's great, Eagles. I like most sports, but it's not like if I miss it, I'm not going to cry. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I love the UFC boxing. I'll watch everything UFC boxing. I've always loved the dedication of like that side of sport in terms of how you can be so disciplined and trained for an event. I love like the way that the UFC broadcast it. You find the ins and outs of the fighters. I feel like they're doing an amazing job doing that on the YouTube series. So probably that I'll watch mainly UFC. I'll watch everything UFC more than cricket, more than everything else.
No, fair play. Yeah, that's one area I'm not up to speed, to be honest. But
I think you'd like it, Chris, if you understood the different types of like this wrestling, boxing kind of
Everything,
kickboxing, all that stuff. It's quite good, but you need to understand it first.
Yeah, it can be a slippery slope, but if I got into it, I'd probably become a bit of a badger about it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those.
Yeah.
You'd probably be in a couple of years. You'd be in UFC Masters, mate. You'd be fucking all over.
I don't know, mate. I don't think I'm big enough. Unfortunately, I'm a bit. Yeah, it's not my thing. But look, Liam, we really appreciate your time.
No
Keith's
problem.
got a school run, I think, to do, and I've got to tidy the house before my missus gets back, when she wonders what I've been doing. So yeah, really, really appreciate your time. It's not every day we get to speak to a World Cup winner, so really appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. No problem.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Take it easy.